Okay, here we go. Well, hello. I don't know what part of the country you're in, but I hope you're staying cool today because it's really hot here. So hope you're staying cool. Welcome. My name's Donna Manley, and I'm a certified health coach with Take Shape for Life. So welcome to our weekly meeting of Simply Balanced. The goal of these calls is to share information and teach you all about creating health in your life. So we're teaching from this book, which is called Living a Longer and Healthier Life. And what it is the companion guide to Dr. A's Habits of Health. So I want to remind you that some of the chapters they don't correlate chapter 1 to chapter 1. You know, sometimes a chapter in this book correlates to different chapters in this book. So you'll just have to pay attention as we go along, and we'll tell you which chapters, go with which. Tonight, as a matter of fact, we're doing lesson 10, and lesson 10 in that book correlates to chapters 11 and 12 in the Habits of Health. So, as a team, we recognize that everyone learns differently. Some people learn from reading books, some by listening, and others by visualization. So the goal of this call is to provide a fun, easy way to learn and understand the habits of health. So I want to mention you don't need to be here for every call because the lessons don't necessarily build on each other. But that being said, we hope you find enough value of it that you're anxious to come back the following weeks. And we encourage you to invite your family, your friends, your loved ones, and help all your peeps get healthy with you. So the format is this. Each 30-minute call will be set up with an introduction of the presenter tonight. And then we're going to follow that by about a 20-minute presentation. And then we're going to allow time for questions at the end. Now the presenters are different every week, and so are the topics. So that changes it up so you don't have time to get bored. You'll have something different to look forward to each week. So in the past, we have used the chat function on the Zoom to ask our questions. We're going to do something a little different tonight. Instead of doing that, I'd ask you to jot down your questions on a piece of paper while you're listening. And at the end, we're just going to open it up for you to ask your questions live. And then Nancy can answer your questions at that time. So tonight's lesson is lesson 10 out of Living a Healthier, Longer Life. And it's lesson 10, which is Eating for Your Life. Your presenter tonight is Nancy Strauss, who's a certified health coach. And Nancy, with that, please unmute yourself and take it away.
I'm glad you said that, or I would have been talking and no one would hear me. That's so funny. Okay, hi everybody. Oh my goodness, this chapter is probably one of the most feared, scientific, but important chapters, and I hope that I can help calm some of our fears of gaining our weight back in Life After program. So yes, eating healthy for life. That does not mean we are on the 5 and 1 forever, but we should always think of the bigger picture, stand back and look at the big picture. So we want to eat healthy for life. You know, everything in life requires maintenance. It is natural course of nature for things to deteriorate. So think of what would happen to your marriage or relationships if you didn't maintain them. Probably break down in communication, even divorce. Think of your car. I mean, so many times we take better of our car than we do our own bodies. But we take care of our car. We change the oil. We check the oil. We put good gas in there. We clean it. We detail it. And a car generally only lasts, 10 years maybe. Our bodies are supposed to last closer to 90. So maybe we should not put Kool-Aid in our gas tank and actually put some high-test efficient fuel in our bodies. Think of your garden. If you don't take care of your garden, think of the weeds that can pop up. If you don't water it, what could happen? If you don't fertilize, what could happen? Or the pests that could come in and destroy it. So like all these things, like all things, we need to learn how to properly maintain and take care of ourselves. This week, it's been really a rough one, watching my mother-in-law, putting her in hospice today, being surrounded by sick people in hospitals and seeing what the ravages of time and age and people that don't take care of themselves, how it catches up in the end. Eating unhealthy has a price. And seeing my aunt have her foot amputated because of diabetes and losing her sight and her kidney function, it's all because of her poor eating habits that led up to some severe consequences. And so it is our goal to actually prevent some of these things from happening in our lives. And it's not too late to take control now. So that fear of transition, life after the 5 and 1, I want you to know that you are supported. You know, your health coach is not going anywhere. We don't just like drop you off after your weight's gone like most other programs out there and just leave you at the curb. Okay, you still have your coach. We are there to help you in transition and in maintenance and well after your weight is gone. So you are still supported by not just my Facebook group, but also your health coach. Huge, that one-on-one support, it's important. And also you have nutrition support, and you have the company, and you have these amazing books to teach you. And I recommend reading those books. Like I wrote on the wall today, you know, there's something about just knowing what you should do and then really understanding it. And when you dive in and really understand how our bodies are designed to work, it almost becomes a conviction where you really want to do it right so that you take good care of yourself and you don't abuse yourself through what we eat. All right, so understanding what causes the yo-yo is important. I mean, like I've asked before, how many of us have ever lost and gained weight back? I dare say most of us have. So what goes wrong when we gain our weight back? Usually, like I talked about last time in chapter 3 or in chapter 5 in the workbook, we had the wrong motivation. We were so busy about focusing on what we don't want. We don't like that back fat. We don't like feeling uncomfortable. We don't like what the doctor told us. We focus on what we don't want instead of our goal, what we want. So the motivation could be off. So not focusing on problem solving, focus on what we want. That's really, really important to not yo-yo. But the other big thing that's really important is the energy balance. You know, if you have that fat around the middle, that is a symptom of an imbalance between how much food you're eating and how much energy is being put out. Okay, so when you take in enough calories that equal what you're burning, you're going to maintain your weight. If you're gaining weight, it's because you're bringing in too many calories and you're not burning enough calories. Sounds really simple, sounds really fundamental, because it is. Chances are you're just not eating properly, you're eating too much and not exercising enough. So finding that balance where it's, imagine a scale. You want to eat what you're also putting out, and that will help you maintain. Okay, so if you notice in maintenance that the scale's going up, chances are you've got to pull that back or increase your exercise and get it back on that level playing field. So on the 5 and 1, we are drastically reducing your calories. You're only eating approximately 1,000 calories a day, even though you're getting the nutrition of a 2,000 calorie diet. You're getting all the nutrition you need, but it's only about 100 calories. So many people, I notice they talk about eating hamburgers and they eat bacon and they eat full fat cheese, and they're thinking because it's low carbohydrate that they're in fat burning and they're doing well. This program isn't just about your carbs. It's also about being lean and lower fat and also lower calories. So it's lower carbs, lower fat, and higher protein. Okay, so it all works together in healthy eating, and what we're doing is turning off your fat factory. Yes, we make fat, usually because of too many carbohydrates and high glycemic carbs, but we're going to get to that in a minute. What I wanted to share is that we have a way to calculate how many calories we need to maintain our weight, and it's different for everybody. I'm 5'8". So what I need to maintain my weight is way different than somebody that's 5'2", okay? So I can look pretty decent at 165 pounds, whereas somebody that was, 5'2", 165 would be quite overweight, right? So I'm going to show you this cool little tool that we have on our website. If you go on your your coach's website, you're going to see something very cool. Oh, I got to back up here. Oh crap, I was afraid this would happen. Let me go back here. Hold on one little second. If you go to your coach's website and go, oh, I cannot believe I'm doing this. Donna, didn't I tell you this would happen to me? Okay. Anyway, if you go on your coach's website, you will be able to click on something called, I'm still trying to find it. Anyway, I'm just going to go here. If you go on our website and you will check on our programs, if you click on our programs on your coach's website and scroll down a little ways, it's going to take you down here to this. Actually, I know what I did. Here we go. Woohoo! I figured it out. I am so not techie. This is proof that anybody in the world can be a coach. Okay, so yes, here's your coach's website. If you click on our programs and then scroll down to right here where it says total energy expenditure, that is going to take you to this really cool little calculator. And it's custom for you. So I'm just going to fill in my stats, okay? So obviously I'm female. My weight, 165. My height, 5 foot, 8 inches. Okay, my age, oh, it's painful. Here we go, 50. Now, here's where it gets kind of interesting. Whoops. What's your activity level? Because everybody's different. Some people have a very active job and they're heavy in sports. Unfortunately, that's not me. I am at this level and this time in my life, I am actually considered slightly active, which is I do some exercise 3 days, maybe 4 times a week, but to be on the safe side, I'm going to say I'm slightly active. And then I'm going to calculate my TEE, which means how many calories I need to maintain my weight. There you go. To maintain where I'm at now with my activity level, with my age, my height, everything considered, I can have 1,951 calories to maintain my weight. Now look what happens if I decide to pick up my exercise. Moderately active. Recalculate, it goes up to 2199. And hey, this will never happen. But what if I was extremely active? I could have almost 2,700 calories a day. So back to reality, slightly active, 1951. So I'm going to go over here and look at what a sample menu, what that could look like. And here you go. So this maps it out over here. Of course, it tells you how many dairies and starches and fruits to have a nice balanced day. And then it also takes into consideration 3 of the fuelings in between your meals. And these are some options that we sell in the Optimal Health line, and we can talk about that later. But that's eating all day long, every 3 hours, which is a healthy habit that should never die. And it spells it out real simple and gives you a great idea of what your day could look like. Okay, so now hopefully you will enjoy that little tool that we provide. I think it is so fabulous. So if you notice in maintenance, your weight is starting to, pick up a little bit, you know exactly how to pull it back, and you can readjust your numbers to see what your day could look like. So I was going to say about transition then. So when you get to your goal weight, after you're done the 5 and 1, you're going to go through transition, and it's very clearly explained in your quick start guide. So I'm not going to really go into all the ins and outs of it, but we're going to slowly start adding food groups back in that you haven't been having. So you're going to, one of the first things you can have back is like corn or peas or carrots, some of the higher glycemic vegetables that you haven't had in a while. And then we're going to start taking away some of your meal replacements and adding in fruit. And then you're going to get your dairy, and then you're going to get your grain. It's very clearly spelled out. Please read it, and please lean on your coach during that time so you do it in a very scientific way. If you stay on the 5 and 1, you're going to keep disappearing. You're going to get thinner and thinner. You can't do that. We need to gradually start upping your calories in a very scientific way so you don't gain your weight back. And so we do that properly through transition with the help of your health coach and your quick start guide. And of course, nutrition support is fabulous to call anytime. Anytime that they're open, they're a fabulous tool for you. Okay, so one thing we really need to always master when it comes to eating is our portions. Okay, so there's 3 things: portion control, eating every 3 hours, and your fueling percentages. So let's talk about your portion control. It's pretty easy when it's done for you. Okay, you've got all your nutrition in here, your fiber, you've got your protein, which fills you up, and you're getting the proper balance of all your vitamins and everything. You know how it works. Eat 5 of these a day and you're lean and green, you're good to go. That's automatic portion control. In life after, we're talking about your 9-inch plate. So there's a size difference, okay? There's a little bit of a difference from what we usually consider a plate and what a portion should be. Donna talked about this last week, but it should be on a 9-inch plate, half fruits and vegetables, a quarter of a lean protein, and a quarter of a healthy starch. That's what your meal should look like in life and maintenance, okay? It's always a good habit to do that. So what happens when we have 3-hour fuelings? Okay, that's another big one, like I said, eating every 3 hours. First of all, babies do it. Second of all, athletes do it. Diabetics do it. I don't know where it came up. It started to happen where we started eating only 3 times a day. We originally, back when we were created, ate often, all day long. So somewhere in the 50s, I believe, we started switching over to eating 3 times a day, and that's not a healthy habit. The beauty of a 3-hour fueling, especially if you're eating low glycemic, it turns off your insulin pump. That's really important. You don't want your insulin going crazy, pumping like crazy. That's not a good habit. You want to keep it at an even energy level, okay? And you're not going to have those huge spikes in your blood sugar. You're kind of keeping your blood sugar more level instead of the highs and the lows that can lead to lots of cravings and hunger. And it reduces the chances of overeating if you ate not long ago. So that one, with portion control and eating every 3 hours, that is not going anywhere. And the longer it takes you to lose your weight, consider it practice that you're doing it for a longer period of time. It's going to feel more natural forever. If I don't eat every 3 hours now, 4 years after I did program, I don't feel right. I know I need to eat soon, and I'm very, very conscious of that. Now, the next one, fueling percentages. So you want the proper proportions of what we eat. And this is where we get a little crazy sometimes, because oftentimes our glycemic level is way out of proportion, and that causes weight gain. So there's macronutrients that we eat. We have carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. And alcohol is another one, but has no nutritional value whatsoever. So we're really going to concentrate on our carbohydrates and our fats and our protein. And that's what mostly our diet is going to consist of. When it comes to carbohydrates, Dr. A says it best. This is really, I can't even improve on what he said, so I'm just going to read a little bit out of the book. Please forgive me, but no one says it better than him and explains it. So I want to say that insulin levels, when insulin levels are high, because you're eating a high carbohydrate meal, your body burns mainly carbohydrates and it stores as fat. So high carbohydrates such as crackers, cookies, cake, pizza, all those amazing tasting things, you are a fat factory. You are making fat. You're storing fat. And the more you eat it, the more you crave it. So how that works, imagine your baseline, and then you go and eat something that spikes it real high. It also drops real low. Your insulin kicked in. You crave more. And the feel-good, happy sensors are going off in your brain. It creates this vicious cycle of sugar addiction. Carbohydrates, starches, they turn into sugar, which turns into fat. And your body, it'll show up on your body every stinking time. So I say, oh, I'm a carb addict. I think we all are. When you eat those carbs, high glycemic, you're going to always want more, and it's that vicious cycle. So when we pull back on our sugars and have a lower glycemic diet, it helps us not have those cravings. So that's why we go through our detox period the first couple of days on program. Your body's kind of having a temper tantrum. It wants its sugar, and you're not giving in. And guess what? After 3 days on program, you're not getting enough carbohydrates to burn, so your body starts to switch to burning your fat. and it starts attacking your fat. So when you get on program and you're on the 5-in-1 and you're doing it correctly, we're shutting off your fat factory. We are instantly pulling back your glycemic level so that you start burning your fat. Hence the reason you're shrinking and melting quicker and more efficiently than you have on other programs that you've tried. So back to reading, Dr. A. Okay, so one of the major food, out of the major food groups, carbohydrates, starches, and sugars are by far the greatest stimulator of insulin, okay? And prolonged high levels of insulin leads to diabetes. Unfortunately, as we go about consuming our supersized meals in bliss, the damage begins without notice. Deep inside, high insulin levels are creating a state of inflammation, decreasing the flexibility of our blood vessels and causing premature aging of our cells. There are warnings to be had: poor sleep, low energy, headaches, thirst, cravings, hunger. But for many of us, these signs just seem like nothing more than one more reason to stop at the fast food drive-thru or a local drugstore to grab a soda and some painkillers. In fact, over 8 million Americans right now have diabetes and don't even know it. But the good news is that once you get your fueling mixture correct through this eating program of his, you're going to feel unbelievably better. So it will be like switching to high performance fuel. And what's more, it has the power to prevent diabetes or stop it in its tracks. So out of all you coaches out there, how many of you have clients that have been told by the doctor that their diabetes is controlled? That's a lot. That's a high percentage. So that's one of the joys of being a coach, is seeing somebody's health improve that rapidly. So when you eat a high glycemic meal, it ramps up your fat storage system, and low glycemic eating, on the other hand, shuts down your fat factory. So we have to be careful with our carbs. And when we enter some fiber in with that, or protein, it helps break it down so it doesn't rush so quickly into your bloodstream, causing those huge spikes. Okay, so what I recommend is going through the book. Dr. A nicely spells out which fruits and vegetables, which breads, all those foods, which are high glycemic and which are lower. And he makes it real easy for you to make your choices with little simple switches that we can do. For instance, corn, that's like a candy bar. It's pretty high in sugar, but if you eat it with some of the husk still intact, it slows down how fast it absorbs into your blood sugar, and it helps it. I'm not saying corn is a healthy vegetable. It's probably one of the least healthy vegetables, but if you have that fiber with it, it makes it better than eating it straight from, the can or from the frozen bag. So, watching our insulin, that's important. Now we're going to talk a little bit about fat. Fat doesn't necessarily, it won't break us out of fat burning. Keeping our carbs under 100 a day, between 80 and 100, will keep us in the fat burning state where we're not hungry, our energy is up, we're very efficient. So fat burning is referring to our insulin and, keeping our carbohydrates under 100 and not suffering, no hunger. Fat doesn't really affect our insulin or our blood sugar at all, but it is very high in calories and it tastes good, and they throw it in everything. And if they take fat out of our foods, they throw in twice the sugar to make it taste better. So fat-free is not always the answer, but neither is a high-fat diet. So we have to really be careful that we don't go crazy with our fats. I mean, I see a lot of times we're like, oh, I had a hamburger, but I didn't have the roll. Well, hamburger is really not a lean. Be careful with that, and just be careful in the amount of fat, especially saturated fat. Thinking of bacon and high-fat cheese, and it's like, oh, well, I'm still in fat burning. Yes, but it can still lead to obesity because of a high caloric count to it. So watch your fats and stick to small amounts of healthy fats, such as avocado, olive oil, almonds, things like that would be a healthier fat instead of reaching for a tub of lard. Okay, so we've covered carbohydrates and fats. And next would be protein. And, you know, protein is a beautiful thing. It's highly effective in spurring our weight loss, and it really helps with maintenance. It gives you that full feeling, and it takes more energy to digest. So as you're eating your protein, your body's working a little bit harder, burning some calories to digest it, and it does sustain you, and it's a cell builder. It builds our cells and our structure, and it's a wonderful thing to incorporate. So going backwards, we are going to say that the carbohydrates will be about 50% of a healthy diet, and your fats will be less than 25% and less than 7% from saturated, and your protein should be between 20 and 25% of your daily calories, okay? So something else I wanted to talk about is the qualities that your meals should look like, okay? So this is forever. The 5 qualities that your meals should have. Low glycemic, we've covered that. You want something that satisfies your hunger, okay? So if you look at what fried chicken you can have for the same calories as what you can have in vegetables, the volume, you can eat so much more for the calories, it's ridiculous. So fill up on the salad. You can only handle so much food without, you know, shutting down. I mean, we can only fit so much in our stomach. Fill up with the vegetables and the fruits. Watch your fruit. Don't go too crazy on that sugar. But mostly vegetables, low glycemic. Fill up on that. That's going to make you feel full and satisfied. You're also going to want to control your calories. They matter. Now, almonds at 160 calories do not equal 160 calorie Coca-Cola. You know, that's pure sugar. It's going to have major effects on your insulin. So a calorie is not necessarily a calorie, as Donna talked about last week. So picking healthy choices, picking your calories wisely, staying within your TEE of what you can have to maintain. It all works together, okay? And so, like I said, also low amounts of healthy fats. So don't go crazy on butters and unhealthy fats. And also keeping to your 3-hour feeding schedule. Just like the zoo, eat every 3 hours. It's important. So they are some good things. So, you know, you're looking for things that carry water, like vegetable. I mean, you really, am I saying it enough? Vegetables, lean and green. It's going to be part of your life in the big picture. So the best way to lose that fat that we feel around our middle, is it through exercise, or is it through, you know, producing a fat burning state? You will lose the fat like crazy when we produce that fat burning state that the 5 and 1 puts us in. Also the 4 and 2. If you have 4 MetaFast meals and the 1 lean and green meal, or the 2 lean and green meals, that will also keep you in fat burning. That's the best way to lose fat. Of course, exercise is a wonderful, healthy habit. But through exercise alone, without changing the way we eat, it doesn't always lead to results. It's not nearly as effective as changing how we eat. Okay, so some healthy eating strategies that'll help us. So continue, you know, if you want, these little meal replacements are nice in between your meals. They're great, easy, grab and go, convenient, amazing, convenient, nice way to, you know, have fuelings in between your meals. Don't forget your 9-inch plate, and you know, try to have variety with all the food groups once you're in maintenance, because they're beautiful. No food is like, you know, I don't want you thinking that you know, being cherries is a bad thing. They're beautiful. They're high in sugar right now. They're on the back burner right now, but we're going to bring them back. Don't think that they're off limits for the rest of your life. And I'm going to give you a little list of some healthy tips when eating out, okay? So avoid fast food restaurants and all-you-can-eat buffets, if possible. If you go to a buffet, go through the line. Oh, holy cow, it's 8:30. Ha! That went fast. Holy crap, I'm glad I just looked. Never mind. I'll talk about these little tips on my wall. I'll write them another time, and we have very little time for chatting. Did you want to open it up for a minute, Donna? Any quick questions?
Yeah, we have to wrap we're past 8:30, so we have to wrap this up quickly. Well, let me just tell you quick. I mean, first, thanks. I think that took away a lot of the fear that we have about transition because it's very well spelled out. But let me just tell you, next week we're learning from chapter 11, which is Habits of Active Living. So please come back, invite your friends. And listen, we can say this is the formal end of the program if you need to leave. But if you want to stay on and ask questions, we'll invite you to stay on for a little longer. And I'll record the whole thing because, you know, the questions and answers might be helpful to others. But if you do have to leave, we want to respect your time. So, you know, with that, I will take everybody off mute and, or just unmute yourself. If you want to ask a question, give a shout out.
So funny. This is what happens when you have a lot of material to cover. I didn't even look at the clock. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, I'll throw one out there to you. Is a potato, a sweet potato, or a yam the best choice in glycemic level? Any answers out there? Who's brave? If you have a choice between a white potato, a sweet potato, or a yam, which should you pick?
Sweet potato.
Yam.
Close.
Yam.
Yeah. I always thought they were the same vegetable. I didn't even know. So
They taste exactly the same.
Yeah.
I know, but they make it different.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have a choice between a banana, strawberries, or watermelon, what would be your best choice?
Strawberry.
Every time. Berries are usually a good choice, although blueberries are a little high. Any questions out there?
Nancy, what was the name of the app? Is that the TEE calculator?
Yeah, the TEE calculator, if you go to the website, your coaches or your website, pick on our programs. Click on that and scroll down and you'll see under the 3 and 3 program the option to calculate your TEE.
Okay.
Anything else, guys?
Nope.
Everybody's being quiet. I bet I said everything there is to possibly say.
You said a lot.
Oh, I did have one question, Nancy.
Yes.
What Dr. A's paragraph, what page was that?
Oh, I shut the book, but let me see.
That's fine. Well, you can put it on your wall. Put it
Yeah,
on your wall. That was good.
No, I have it right
Or
here,
text me.
and it was chapter 11. And I do recommend poring over it because it is very scientific, but when you really understand it, it will make a difference in your choices. Okay, and it's page 133 in the Habits of Health book.
Right.
Okay, sure. Does that cover everything, guys? I don't want to steal your whole night away. Go be with your families. Have a good one. Thanks for being here.
Coming up. Well, thank you, Nancy.
Thanks,
for
Nance.
teaching. That was some great
you.
information. So everybody, please invite your family, friends, and loved ones next week. And, you know, we'd love to have them be part of this and learn about their habits of health and getting healthy. So for this week, stay simply balanced. Remember, healthy choices, healthy you. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Thank you.
Bye.